right, welcome to another exciting episode of Keto Rocks. I'm Jim Hobbs, and to my left or right is my carnivore co-host, Brian Damaged Forsythe of Kix. And back to join us with an update is none other than the keto champion of Nashville, Tennessee, Dr. Steve O.
And I bring a tale of woe to the table today, Jim and Brian.
Well, why don't you explain to the listeners and followers what exactly that means and why you are here today?
Well, when I first came on the show back in March-ish, I said I had a goal for the year. And I'm going to mention, not only did Brian Damaged Forsythe influence my life heavily back in October, but he said something in March that has always stuck with me too. It's interesting how you can spend forever with a person, but little moments just kind of hit you with the right advice at the right time. But when I came on the show first, I think I was down 40 pounds or something. And I said, I have a 1-year goal of 60 pounds, which is 5 pounds a month. And so on the 4th of July, it will be my final weigh-in. And I hope to be at the weight, the goal was 217. So I started at 277. And on the 4th of July morning, I was 217.4. And I was crestfallen, Jim. The whole thing was for nothing. It was all a big failure. And I set out to have the most miserable weekend of my life, which irritated my wife, who didn't understand my point of view. But surely you guys understand my point of view. And since then, I have actually, I said in the text to you when we were setting this up, it felt like I hit bottom and then bounced, because I've literally gained, I think after I did my walk this morning, I was like 6.5 pounds I gained just in the few days since the 4th. Like I just went nuts and stress ate. My body said, screw it. We can't hit 217, so why bother? It's an interesting way that chemistry and psychology and it all sort of combines. And you can either make it work or not work. And I've made it not work for a little while. Oh, but I don't mean to cut off your
go ahead,
Jim, but I'll get to what Brian said that has stuck with me, which was, I said back in March what my goal was. And Brian said, why do you set a goal? Just let your body kind of get to where it's going to get. And until the 4th of July, I just did what most people do to advice givers, which is like, yeah, just scram. But when I didn't hit my goal and I went through a bout of depression for about 2.5 hours, I just remembered Brian's voice, which was, your body's going to do what it's going to do. Just get out of the way. Let it happen. That was my way of interpreting what he said. But so since gaining a little more weight, I thought, all right, I had a 4th of July weekend that was replete with horrible food, horrible choices at the bar, and a little bit of stress eating, because I'm in a pretty stressful phase of life right now. So if I just kind of relax and let things happen, everything will work out the way it needs to.
Yeah.
Well, it's listening to Brian for the 9 out of 10 times is going to put you in a better position than if you didn't listen to Brian. So
I want to know what happens on that 10th time.
Well, I think you just proved it. You binge eat.
But yeah, but you know, from experience, my own personal experience, like whenever I eat something, you know, off the spectrum, I'll wake up the next day and get on the scale, and of course, like the numbers go up, but really all that is it's your body holding on to the fluids, and if you just jump back on, like 3 or 4 days from now, you'll be back down to where you were. Look, it's not actually, you didn't gain fat. It's just water.
Right. You weren't with me during the Caligula type of weekend that I had.
Now, I did see those pictures. So you throw an annual 4th of July party at your place, Dr. Steve?
Oh, no. This is one of Brian's peers whose house I was at.
Did you? So I know this person. Huh?
You know where I was, don't you?
No, I never found out.
Oh, all right. I was, I don't know if I should say or not. I'll tell you off air if it doesn't come up at some point during here.
Oh, okay.
Are you crashing at their basement as well? Is that how you got the invite?
No, it's just Brian's front hedge that I hang out in and look through his windows.
But serious. I mean, the fact that you've come this far in a year, I mean, that's amazing. So kudos for you. And
Yeah.
we do tongue in cheek in regards to the 0.4 pounds, but the reality of it is, you haven't been faithful to the keto lifestyle with your ketchup and other adult beverages. However, the progress is going in the right direction. And so that's what needs to be celebrated today. So, you getting off and, drowning your woes of 0.4 pounds, do not let the other half of you, the egoic self that's in your head, tell you, let's go ahead, screw it, we're done with this lifestyle. We're going to have fun and drink and eat whatever we want to. And I'm saying, don't let what you've accomplished so far go to waste. I mean, don't close your practice because you had one bad patient. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, the glass is half full, in other words.
Yeah.
Glass is half full. It is interesting, though, that doing the opposite of a crash diet is to have like a long-term plan, which is what you guys advocate for, which is let's make lifestyle choices instead of crash your whole system for 2 months. But now, like, we went to an Italian restaurant the other night, and there's always bread on the table, and the whole menu's full of pasta. And I really had no desire. Like my wife and son ate some of the bread with the oil, and I just took a fork and got some Parmesan cheese in the oil and ate it. And I was fine with that. It looks weird, and it's embarrassing for them, but I don't care. I don't feel drawn to completely throw out everything that I've been doing for the last year.
No, that's good. That's good. I actually took a friend of mine that I coached back in Special Olympians back in the 80s. He calls me every day, every year on his birthday. I go pick him up and I take him to Chesapeake Beach Resort and I treat him to whatever he wants for lunch. And we go to the casino and he loves playing the penny slots. And, he was there yesterday. He ordered a big fried shrimp platter with coleslaw and big old steak fries. And then they brought out a huge cup of ice cream with chocolate, and then they gave him another cup of dark chocolate, hot lava to pour on top of it, and he ate all of it right in front of me. And as I sat there and watched him eat, I had zero temptation to go, man, I really just want to try this. Let me just try it. I had zero temptation. Now, I will tell you, back in my early journey of keto, I would have said, you know what? It's a birthday. Let me celebrate with my friend here. And I would have made an excuse to go ahead and try some of that, which would have set me back another week or two. But I'm at the point now where I look at that and it doesn't faze me at all. I just go, I don't even want to try that.
Yeah.
I believe Brian had some carrot cake on his birthday.
Did I? I think I did. I can't even remember anymore, but
he has had asparagus 2 days in a row, which is a big deviation from his eat your meat.
It wasn't actually in a row. It was one day, and then I didn't eat it the next day, and then I ate it the day after.
All right, so 2 out of 3 days, I stand corrected.
But I got to say,
it's like 0.4 pounds. Not ounces.
Yeah.
But I've had asparagus along the way. A few spears here and there, but I don't put them on my plate and take a picture because I always have all this explaining to do.
which is true, because because we got a text message last night about someone commenting like, why is Brian eating asparagus 2 times in the last day? You 2 out of 3 days he's had asparagus. Let's just put it that way.
Not 2 in a row, Jim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not 2 in a row. But
I had to eat it. It was in the refrigerator. I can't just throw it away.
Well, who bought it though?
Did the asparagus fairy show up?
No, I bought it.
I like how he covered that up. Like, yeah, it was in the refrigerator.
Well, after I bought it, it was in the refrigerator.
After Dr. Steve-O had his adult beverage that was just sitting there on top of the bar.
I was overserved, Jim. It's not my fault.
It's not your fault. When they asked me what do I want, I just spoke it, and then it appeared. And once it appeared, I had to drink it. I hear you. But talking about Brian's just fueling his body for this upcoming Kix concert. So where are you guys playing this week, Brian?
We're doing Dewey Beach and Gettysburg Bike Fest.
That's a big one, right? I mean, I mean, the Gettysburg Bike Fest is pretty big
Yeah,
turnout.
we haven't done that in a few years, but yeah, it can get out of hand.
The
Well,
Kix fan board lit up with that. Like, there's a lot of people really looking forward to that gig.
Yeah, yeah. People are well now that we're up and running again. It's like it never stopped, and people are starved for entertainment. So
Steve, you're going to get on your hog and drive up to Maryland or Pennsylvania, Gettysburg, and
I
join
was never,
the concert.
I grew up in Harleyville in Milwaukee, but I was never a motorcycle guy. My wife was a motorcycle guy before we met. Like, she had a bike when we got together and sold it when kids started coming around, but I've never been a bike guy.
Yeah,
yeah, me
I
either.
I have that. Yeah, I'm not a bike person either. I've never owned one. Tons of friends who've had them and lost tons of friends because of them.
Oh,
I understand the attraction to riding a bike and feeling the freedom, but I also don't want to limit. I want to limit my liability, so I'm still here for my family and
Right.
friends.
Well, my brother rides. Well, he doesn't ride Harleys, but he rides motocross. So I've been around them. I've rode them before, but I'm just too scrawny. If one started to fall, I wouldn't be able to keep it up. It would just go.
man, I would not, with everyone texting and driving nowadays, I don't know that I'd want my kids out on a bike. Like, it's just, you
Ah,
can't
yeah.
trust other people on the road anymore.
No, you sure can. I was behind an 18-wheeler yesterday, and he must have been texting or looking where he was plugging in his GPS coordinates, and he went right off the road, right onto the shoulder, throwing up rocks, and he finally came back on. But if he was in the left lane and you're sitting there driving or on a bike, he wouldn't have seen you. He'd have just rolled right over you, and that's the sad part. It's they're just hard to see, and like you said, people out there texting and driving, it's just not worth jeopardizing your life over that.
No.
So Brian, how was the concerts? How was M3 up in Meriwether Pavilion this weekend?
It was a
Hot.
sea of people.
You
It was
guys sounded great though. You guys sounded really tight Friday night. I listened to you guys. It was you guys did a great show.
Were
well
you there,
that
Jim?
well they also did a live stream on that, which I haven't seen, but
No, it was good. I watched it. It was good. You guys sounded really tight. Man, it was definitely a sea of people. It was packed.
yeah, yeah.
So
Well, those shows, they're so hectic too, though. I always feel like I'm just like, what's the saying? Getting by the seat of my pants or whatever. I'm just like,
flying by the seat of your
oh,
pants.
okay, yeah. And I'm like, uh, then you look at it afterwards and it's like, oh, okay, it didn't sound that bad. But in my mind, I'm just like hanging on by a thread the whole time.
Well, it sounded great, and you guys got a chance to do a sound check, which is unusual at Meriwether Pavilion, isn't it?
Yeah, we've done them here and there in the past, but then now I remember why, why we hadn't been doing them, because I don't know if you know, but the
Stage
stage,
rotates.
yeah, it rotates. So um, we could set up and do a sound check, but then we had to strike the stage, so everything's got to be torn back down, which is like kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, I guess it helps the sound guy, but as far as like tweaking the amp and getting everything situated, it just goes out the window because they got to do it over again later. But what happens is whichever band is playing, the band that goes on next is setting up behind the curtain, the opposite direction, and then the stage rotates around at the end. So you can sort of get it situated back behind there before it goes out. But there's always like something that's not quite right when you get out there, and but
So you guys are making, or your roadies and yourselves are making adjustments on the fly as you guys are playing the concert.
kinda, yeah. I mean, most of it's right. It's just I know there's been a few times where it's like Eddie Trunk's out there introducing the band, and my in-ears aren't working, and it's like, wait a minute, or something like that.
It was very unusual. It's very matter of fact, the only time I remember that Steve just came out and when Eddie introduced you guys, because usually he just pops up right when it's time for him to to start the song and start singing. So it was unusual to see Steve out front before you guys started playing to
You
start
mean
the show.
right at the front of it?
Yeah, like usually he pops out, and comes out there with that bundle of energy like Kid Dynamite. Whew,
Oh,
and
after we've already started. Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah,
yeah,
we didn't really have an intro, so he kind of just ran out there and did a jump to get us started.
yeah, that was unusual. I didn't usually you wait for you guys to come on and start playing, and all of a sudden Steve just surprisingly runs out there and hits you with his energy. So, but yeah, but it was a good turnout, and it was cool that Eddie introduced you guys, and
Yeah.
so
I'm always surprised at people who see Kix for the first time and they're like, holy crap, these guys are really good. I'm like, where have you been for the last 40 years? Like, Steve is such a good front man, and you guys are so tight. Like, that's a great show.
I was just talking about that. Somebody, because there's always the person that's like, wow, it's the first time I've seen these guys. It's like, really? But
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
I know. And you see like Dr. Steve O was saying, the threads, people were saying, hey, I saw Kix for the first time out in the Freedom Festival. Man, they were the best band that played. And you see that over and over again, and they're seeing you guys, you guys have been out there on the road, and anybody who sees you just loves how tight you guys are and loves the sound and falls in love with the music and goes out and spreads the word. It's always amazing to me that you either got a whole bunch of Kix supporters who are behind the scenes, and that doesn't translate into the true numbers of Kix fans that are out there, but I'd say you guys got a huge following that doesn't it's not accounted for. Let's just put it that way. And the fact that you guys are still drawing new fans at this stage is just a testament to you guys' talent.
Well, yeah, it amazes me on a daily basis.
So maybe next year, when Dr. Steve O has his mansion built up there on the 20 acres, maybe we can do a 4th of July party at your house, Dr. Steve.
We talked about that, and I said, I know enough rock stars. We would have a hell of a party out there. Everyone brings some instruments. Like, there's plenty of room. We've actually talked. It's sort of out there a ways, so I don't know if any of you and Brian's people would make the drive, but it'd be a heck of a lot of fun. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we do Dr. Steve O's Jam Fest, or whatever you want to call it, and let it just be, bring your instrument and bring a piece of meat, and we're going to have a party.
Hey, I know what you could call it. You could call it the Ketchup Festival.
And that would bring people by the drove down there. Absolutely. And only people with good taste. So we would kind of weed out all of those with poor taste. Those judgmental people. Oh.
Can't stand them. But I'll catch you guys at the M3 show next year, Brian. I'll have to forego the Tennessee Fest.
Come out to Monsters on the Mountain, Jim. It's not too far from you.
That's true. You may see me there for that one. That's for sure. So now that we got Dr. Steve on the show again, we must ask this question, since I was a casino, and this is a betting question. Which will be completed first, the tongue or the book?
That's perfect, Jim. That's beautiful.
And I will say to everybody, Dr. Steve did not put me up to this at all. 0. So I don't want him to get blamed for this one. This is just the question that's rattling in my head.
Man, you need to set up a pool for listeners. Like, that's a great question. And Brian is stymied right now.
I know which one would be easier.
Well, which one would you bet on, Brian?
Me?
Yeah, you determine the outcome, so it's an easy bet for you.
Wow. Of course the tongue would be the easiest.
Well, let's take these one at a time. Why haven't you cooked the tongue yet? That actually, I didn't know you hadn't until Jim just said that.
Because I keep forgetting about it, I guess.
When it's in the deep section of his freezer, you can do, when you got asparagus sitting on top of it,
Right. I can't see it through the asparagus.
All right.
Okay, so we're there. So just to let everybody know, if you don't get your book this year at the Keto Rocks retreat, we will have it available maybe kind of for the Keto Rocks retreat in 2022.
Really?
Well, it's a maybe, kind of.
Okay.
Hopefully
Depends.
time before that, but
Really?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Brian has I wasn't going to say this. I don't want to embarrass Brian, but he has taken to ignoring me. My texts, I think he blocked my phone number, Jim.
No, I just don't know what to say. I've run out of excuses.
He said the dog ate it, but he doesn't have a. He realizes he doesn't have a dog.
I accidentally set it down in the smoker.
Oh, that's wow! Imagine
they made a movie about that, Up in Smoke, didn't they? Cheech and Chong. Well,
there's been a couple movies. That's sort of a tropey thing where part of the script gets burned or something. Yeah.
So how is your books coming along, Dr. Steve? I see you're got 4 or 5 in the works now.
Yeah, they're actually coming along really well. Like life is about to accelerate for me, which is part of the stress. Like I started my 5th book with a huge social media guy. Like his Facebook page reaches 51 million people a month. So wow. This one I'm kind of bracing for impact on. So I'm trying to, and I'm not saying this to put stress on Brian, but I'm trying to kind of clean up the other 4 to kind of get them at least positioned. With the 4th book, I guess I'm not saying name, although I can say her name now because she told her band, but one of the girls in Vixen is my 4th book. And that one is almost ready to launch. And we got a publishing deal on it that I was telling Brian about. But I mean, he ignored me, but that we, sorry, brother. But we walked away from the publishing deal because I realized that I have a team and all of the infrastructure in place to kind of be my own publishing company. And so we're going to self-publish, and there's a lot more money in doing it that way. That one's getting ready to launch. The business-oriented book I wrote with one of Brian's peers, that one is at the editor right now and getting ready to launch. Brian's, I just told him a couple of weeks ago, if we want to get this out by mid-August, we really have to seal it up and get it done. And he ignored me. So I'm assuming that August is out of the question. But I will say, Brian, if you need help with something, let me know, because for you too, I'd like to get it out. But the first book is with a guy, I think I said his bandmate put out a book last year, and we're trying to put some breathing room between both books. And now I'm working on the 5th one. And the next 2 artists are kind of hovering, waiting for me to get done with this one. So it seems like I'm positioned very well to continue doing this as a career, and I'm very happy about it.
That's awesome. You see yourself open up a Dr. Steve O bookstore there in Nashville, so people who visit Nashville could come by there and pick up your
I don't know about all that,
books.
But I know, like David Ellefson from Megadeth has a publishing branch of his empire, and I think he just kind of fell backwards into doing what I'm discovering about me. Like, you can have other people pay you to do this because they don't know how. And even if they've written the book, like, they don't know how to get it edited and laid out and print worthy and printed and distributed. Like, I can do all of that. So it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah, there's some friends of mine from a B&I group that years ago, that's what they do. They would go around and do seminars for 30 people. You paid $500 for a Saturday. You showed up, and they went through how to write your own book, like the software to use, how to edit it, how to go get yourself a cover, and these different sites that you can go to construct your own book, how to load it up on the, what's the platform there, Kindle, how to load it up on Kindle and Amazon, and they would, for $500. So it's amazing to me that how many people do have a story inside of themselves that they want to get out. And I think you've tapped into, because these people who have been rocking most of their life, nobody knows behind the scenes. I was just discussing with Brian a couple of weeks ago about the the documentary they just did recently on Kiss, and to see the behind the scenes that I never knew what they were dealing with, you know, it was very enlightening. I was telling Brian, I said, man, people have no idea, you know, what people go through being in a band, especially a band that spans, you know, 3 or 4 decades, and what it takes. You know, Gene Simmons says, you know, people expect you, they don't expect marriages to last a lifetime, but somehow they expect their favorite band to last a lifetime. That's Brian's alarm to go off to say you got 30 minutes till Keto Rocks.
I forgot to turn the ringer off on my phone. That's why I missed your text this morning. I had the ringer off.
You talking to me or to Jim?
Both
Wow,
of us.
whoever texted both of you guys.
Okay. See, my text you didn't miss. That got blocked right before it got to your phone, Brian.
Sorry.
But no, but I think you've tapped into something there, Dr. Steve, and that's a talent. The fact that you have that talent, I mean, you know, the fact that you're able to help people who don't have that talent. And I think, you know, in the future, you do great presentations, you know, add that to your arsenal to be able to offer that, how to write a book, how to publish your own book.
Yeah, and it's also interesting spending a lot of time with a person that it is sort of intimate time. Like when you're around someone a lot, you don't just talk about, well, tell me what happened in 1983. Like there's a whole lot of what's happening today. There's a lot of this going on in my marriage. There's a lot of I'm frustrated because of this, or my kids are doing this. Like it's been, I sort of honor the, well, being a shrink, this is kind of what I do anyway, but the sanctity of that relationship. And I am the keeper of secrets, and I don't ever take that lightly.
No, that's, you know, and by knowing those intimate secrets and knowing, you know, the stuff behind the scenes before what really gets published, just, you know, breeds a special type of relationship that they feel comfortable enough to share that with you. So
yeah,
so great job, Dr. Steve-O.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Now, when are you going to write your book?
I don't think I have one in me. I do have, well, I've written novels, but there's nothing about me that I would find particularly fascinating enough to write.
Now, what's your editing process when you go through and you're reading these manuscripts that you've transcribed them and they make the edits, they come back to you? I mean, truly, you must never sleep. Truly, I mean, the number of podcasts you do, your own practice. Do you sleep? That's a question. Does Dr. Steve-O sleep?
That is a good
I'm up at my kitchen table writing at 4 o'clock every morning. And that's so that I can finish my writing and then exercise for a while before my day starts. And then I get into the real part of my day. So I don't know, I'm passed out by 9 or 9:30 every night, and I sleep till 3:30 or 4. And that's the rhythm of my life.
That's awesome. I mean, I think
I couldn't multitask like that. My mind would get overwhelmed, like it already is.
Jim asked about the editing process, and it's I write the manuscript and then give it to the artist, and then I never hear from him again. That's the way the editing.
So, Brian, you got a lot of company. Look at that.
Well, I was making some progress, and then all these gigs popped up. Well, right before the gigs, I was just headed into this thing. But now now that I'm starting to get into back into the rhythm of the packing and traveling, I actually have some room in my suitcase. I can stick it in there and bring it with me. So.
That's a good point. Brian just brought up something that I noticed because like him, I was on the road all the time. And then I went from 100 miles an hour to 0 when it comes to travel. I went recently up to the Northeast to get my son and his car and drive back with him from school. And man, I had not taken an airplane trip in forever. And it was like, I was really rusty at how do you pack? How do you do the airport? What time, where do you park? Like all of this stuff. And the Nashville airport has changed a ton since I was there last. And holy cow, it's a muscle memory that takes a second to get back.
Yeah, everything. I mean, well, because I did travel a few times during the pandemic, and they changed everything around for that. And then I'm like the other day, I was only going to be gone. For M3, I was gone like a day. So I thought, well, I'll just drive my own car and just park it. It'll be cheaper than taking a Lyft ride back and forth twice. So then, or once, back and forth. And I thought, I know during the pandemic they closed down a bunch of parking lots. I'm like, I wonder if those are open now. I guess they would be. And I wasn't sure. And so I was kind of driving in blindly into it and wondering what was still there and what wasn't. But it all worked out. So
It's
are the flights back to capacity? Are they packed now?
yes.
oh man, they are overpacked as far as what I saw.
And there's like these weird delays for I don't even know what reason. There are some weather things, but yeah, the flight I just took to Maryland, it was what they oversold it by 18. That's a lot.
Jesus, yeah.
Wow. So they had that 18 standby and get their free ticket for they want another flight?
Yeah, they were offering $600 plus the cost of the flight for somebody to wait for a later flight. But they overbooked it because they were expecting a bigger plane. They got a smaller plane that arrived, and they couldn't hold all the people. So,
oh, that's interesting. The other thing that I've noticed is, and I don't know which airline did you fly, Brian?
my favorite, Southwest.
Oh, okay.
That's my go-to.
I thought all the Southwest planes were the same size. That's why I even asked, or I would assume Southwest, because you always take pictures when you're on Southwest. But the point is that I think enough people are just crazy enough nowadays that they no longer serve alcohol on the planes. And I think that's a consequence of some pretty poor behavior that's beginning to spike.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I haven't flown in forever. It's been at least a year for me to go anywhere.
Well, they just started serving coffee again. That was frustrating.
Oh, well, we had like full drink service, but their announcement was ostensibly, yeah, no more alcohol because you idiots can't control yourselves. It wasn't in that many words, but that was my takeaway.
Wow.
I can believe it.
Wow. Well, hey, listen, we're going to deviate for a second and bring on Brian Shanker from the MeatTribe and let him give the meat deals of the week. So we'll add him to the screen. And Dr. Steve, I'm just going to fade you out, and then I'll bring you back as soon as Brian's done. But we'll bring you back.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Hey, we're good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So I'm expanding. For Brian.
Whoa. This is all about maximizing weight loss and building health. What do you mean you're expanding?
I'm expanding. I've added a store. Down near Brian. I've added Kroger. So.
Ooh.
All right. Now you got his attention. All right. Okay. That's a good expansion. So I'll go ahead and let you tell your story.
All right. So I figured, Brian's down there. I'm never reporting on any of the stores down there. And Kroger's a major chain. They're all over the place. So I figured I could add them too. So we're expanding our coverage. So first up, we've got one deal from Food Line. They've got a couple others that I'll do in my full podcast or video. But Food Line's got some choice grade bone-in T-bone steaks for $7.99 a pound. And that deal runs through the 13th of July. Harris Teeter, people are out there killing it with the ground beef. 80% lean ground beef value pack, $2.99 a pound. That's saving you $1 off their normal price. And they're limiting you, Jim. So when you go there, you're going to either have to buy 4, then go out to the parking lot, then go back in, or have Peggy come out there with you so you can get more than 4. So they're limiting.
I'll buy 4. She'll buy 4. Then I'll come back and buy 4 more, and then I'll go to the other Harris Teeter and repeat the process.
Do the same thing. Sounds good. Harris Teeter also has some choice grade boneless New York strip steaks or a steakhouse roast, and that's at $9.99 a pound, and that's saving you $7 per pound. Both of the Harris Teeter deals, they run through July 13th as well. All right, Brian, here's your store, Kroger. I have to say, they only had 2 deals, so I'm giving you both deals. They've got a choice grade boneless chuck roast or steak at $4.99 a pound, and they've also got a boneless Angus top sirloin steak family pack for $8.99 a pound. I don't know if you eat either of those cuts.
Well, I've done I've done a chuck roast. I've done it like a brisket. They're pretty good.
Okay, so you cooked it like a brisket and it came out nice?
Yeah.
You smoke it, Brian?
I mean, they're smaller, but they take them up to 203 degrees. They're just like a brisket when you slice them.
Now, do you wrap it or you just put it on there?
Yeah, I treat it just like a brisket, but it's small, so you can't. It doesn't take as long, but yeah, I just go through the same process I would with the brisket, and it's great.
Okay, good deal. So you can go get a couple of those, $4.99 a pound. It's not too bad. The last deal I have for you is at Giant Eagle. They've got some choice grade boneless Market District beef stew cubes. Hopefully, when it gets to fall, they'll keep putting those beef stew cubes on sale so I can make my chili and get a good price for it. It's $5.99 a pound, and the Giant Eagle deal doesn't start until tomorrow, and it runs through the 14th. So that's all I'm bringing to you guys today. Less deals out there so far. Again, I've got 3 other stores that I pulled deals from. They don't advertise their stuff until starting tomorrow, and so I can't comment on those yet. But I found out that July is National Grilling Month. Did you guys know that?
No, we're the last ones to know for whatever reason.
Yeah,
that's funny. So, yeah, National Grilling Month. So everybody should get out there, get some meat, and get to grilling.
Well, let me ask you a question. On the 4th of July, what did you grill any meat there, Brian?
So I grilled, I'm trying to remember. I grilled hot dogs and hamburgers for the kids. I'm trying to remember if I actually grilled anything for my wife and I. I can't, it's escaping me. I'll have to go back to the archives and see if I took pictures. But it was just a real low key day for us, just hot dogs and hamburgers. And I know we got some takeout from Black Hog, one of the barbecue places here, and we got the smoked pork shoulder, and that was really good. What about you guys?
I smoked. I think I did ribs, and what else did we have? I'm trying to think. It was too hot. When it's hot, I don't even like eating. I truly just don't even like eating. I think I did a thing of ribs and a thing of ribeyes. But I think I sent you and Brian, both Brian's, a picture. I was up in Arlington at a Harris Teeter, and they were selling Wagyu Ribeye for $28.99 a pound for Wagyu Ribeye. And I don't know, I haven't tried the Wagyu Ribeye, buying in the store and try it. I mean, you're thinking about a 2 pound, you're talking about $60 for a one piece of meat. That's just, I don't know if I can stomach that.
Yeah, Brian, have you had Wagyu yet?
Not official. Well, the real stuff comes from Japan,
right?
And I know that's like insanely priced, but I've had stuff that's labeled that, like from a Tennessee grass-fed farm where I get stuff. They offer it, and in fact, those short ribs that I get are Wagyu.
Okay.
And they're really marbled, really good. And you know what? I think pretty much that's just like grain-fed, but.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're right. It comes from Japan, but they also have Australian. And I think they are now saying that America has some Wagyu that they're officially allowed to label it that.
It's the American version, but it's not as expensive as the other. So
right. I did pick up a Wagyu New York strip from Walmart, believe it or not. And I cooked it. It was really hard to cook because it was so thin. I'm used to cooking it at least 3/4 of an inch thick meat, So, but it was tasty. I would get it again if I could get one that was cut properly. It was thin and it was thicker on one side than the other too, which made it even more difficult.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the thin cuts. It's so hard to get it medium rare. So it's either you are flipping it on the side and it's going to be a little bit rarer in the middle than you typically like it, or you just got to sous vide them and just throw them in a skillet for a second with some butter or some bacon grease and flash seal them, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, great. Well, if people want to get more of your to catch more of your specials, can you tell everybody where to find you on YouTube?
Yep. Be sure to head on over to the YouTube channel. It's called MeatTribe. Full weekly meat update there. And MeatTribe is all one word, no spaces. When you get there, please like the videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you come across any deals, let me know in the comments section there. I'm also posting, sharing the videos on Facebook. And I do have some MeatTribe shirts and stuff. I just uploaded or updated the store, and the link to the MeatTribe apparel store is always going to be in the description of my videos on YouTube. So get out there, get some meat, and get to grilling.
There you go. Well, thanks again for your weekly updates and deals, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Friday, Brian.
Sounds good. Take care, guys.
Yeah,
All right.
good to see you.
All right. Well, thanks, Brian, for that update. And now, Dr. Steve O, back in the house with us. You're back. So, hey, so what's your goal for next July? What you told us our goal before. So what's your goal for next July?
I've been just sort of aimless for the last, well, today we're recording, it's the 7th, so it's only been a few days. I haven't reassembled my troops well enough to get my legs under me and make a new goal. Professionally, personally, anything. We're selling our house and we don't have another place to move into yet. So outside of living literally in Brian's basement, we're trying to assemble a game plan in the meantime.
What's the delivery time for building and all that? Is it 12, 14, 6 months? I mean, have they started breaking ground yet?
No, we
Okay.
haven't completely decided what we're going to do yet. And it's one of the plans on the table is to buy a camper and just live on the land. But then we'd have to run electric. We're thinking of just throwing up a barn to park the RV in on the land. But that takes time and materials, which are hard to get hands on. And we'd have to lay a concrete slab, which is a pain in the neck. And there's nobody out there. It's just... there's a lot of moving parts to life, and I don't know that I have any resolution other than we will accept an offer on Monday for our house and probably close around September 1st. So I'm hoping Kix books a ton of gigs in the fall so that Brian's house is vacant for most of it. And I do know that basement window's got a loose hinge on it. I don't want to tell Brian that straight out, but yeah.
All right. Well, as long as you got a plan to work toward, that's all that matters.
Well, October you'll be sharing a basement with Rhino Bucket, maybe.
See, now you're talking to the wrong guy. I would enjoy that.
So you're housing the bandmates, huh?
Well, just for a couple days probably, because before the Monsters on the Mountain thing, they're going to come here and rehearse. So.
And then you guys actually go tour Europe, right? Isn't that
next
year, 2022, February or somewhere around there?
January, the whole month. Yeah.
Well, that will be fun. Smokey is what's Smokey gonna do?
Oh, I don't know. That poor cat. That's another thing of getting back into the travel. She's got to get used to that too. But she seems to be doing all right. The first week I left, she was just like miserable. She didn't come out of the back bedroom the whole time.
Well, maybe you can unlock the door that goes to the basement to your top floor, and Steve, just go feed the cat while he's gone.
I'll take care of it. Yeah. I usually do. If Brian comes home and notices that his gold records are actually hung on the wall, he'll know that I've been there.
So yeah, that should be part of the bet too, huh?
Oh, are they still on the floor? Are your gold albums still on the floor?
Yes.
Oh my. All right, so we got 3 bets going on here.
All right.
I'm still good. I don't know which one to bet on now. The tongue, or if Dr. Steve can get in there and get them hung up before
actually
Brian
I think
returns.
The tongue is still in the lead.
The tongue pictures book. Now that's a song title. Now someone else can write the lyrics.
Oh, we would need like a wailing country star to do that one.
That may be a Willie Nelson hit right there. Anyway, well, Dr. Steve, what projects has the missus been cooking for you lately?
We have had a lot of brisket because Kroger's has had it on sale off and on. And man, when it's $1.99 a pound, we buy a cow's worth of brisket. So in fact, we had a brisket last night. and she likes
Wow.
it. She just puts it on the smoker in the morning and leaves it all day. And she's gotten it where cooking brisket, I guess, is sort of an art form. Like there's a way to screw it up. And Mrs. Steves had to kind of work through a couple of learning experiences. And last night's, man, you couldn't even cut it because it was so tender. Like the meat would sort of fall apart under the blade going back and forth, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
Brian,
once you get it down though, it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Brian, you cooked a piece. You had a brisket the other day. Didn't you post a picture? That thing looked delicious and looked so moist and like you cut it with a butter knife.
Oh, it was a small one. Yeah, I bought a small one. But yeah, I was at Kroger was it the same day I bought that asparagus? They had the leftover briskets, on sale. And I was like, wow, look at that price. And I still have a brisket in my freezer, and I just couldn't resist, so I bought another one.
After holiday, like after Memorial Day is probably when you were talking, Brian.
Yeah.
After the 4th, same thing, man. Everything they have left over, they just crash the prices to get rid of it, and you can really stock up.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was before the 4th. Maybe it was on Saturday. I forget when I bought it, but yeah, a nice big one too.
Yes. Have you noticed meat prices going up in your area, Dr. Steve?
Jim, I like that you assume I have any idea what anything costs. Like,
hey, when you have that kind of money, I do.
Oh,
I apologize. I apologize for asking those who can afford anything.
I'll be like, what you got your haircut? What did that cost? And she's like, oh, not as much as some women pay. Like, these are the answers I get.
Well, I just figure somebody who has a stylist and a manager, you have these times, you have more money than Brian and I have put together. So we live vicariously through your lifestyle.
I'm getting massage right now, in fact, while I'm on the podcast with you. Yeah.
Those are the luxuries that we can't afford.
Now, Mrs. Steve took over the money early in our lives, like when we got married, and I never paid attention. Marry somebody you trust. That's my advice to all the kids, because she could ruin me if she wanted to.
That's great advice. You had something you were going to say, Brian?
No. I think I was going to say when you were, Steve was talking about not paying attention to the prices. I'm kind of like that too, like gas. People are, well, how's the gas prices in your area? And it's like, I don't know. I just go to the gas station and fill it up, and whatever it costs, that's what I pay. I don't even look because I need it. And it's the same kind of with meat. Well, meat, I can see it a little bit easier because it's right there in the meat counter, And if it is cheaper, then I'll buy it.
$1.99 for brisket. That's a great deal. I mean, because even at Costco, at least our Costco's up here, it's I want to say it's $5.99, which is not a bad price, but I think it's even gone up more than that lately. I know short ribs is $11.99 a pound now, except for that one I bought the other day for $5.99. So
are all their short ribs cut like that, or do they have any of the regular?
No, they have the ones you like, the short, the stocky ones.
They do?
They do, yes.
Because the farm that I order from has been out. Like, I can't remember the last time they had them. I've been waiting for them, so maybe I'll go to Costco.
Yeah, they should have some.
We like the St. Louis style ribs, the short ribs from Costco. I don't know if you've ever gotten a pack of those, Jim.
I have. I've tried all their ribs. Those big meaty ones, the St. Louis one.
Yeah, I want those too, but the short ribs are my favorite.
A little fattier, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about the other day. I think my pork rib days are over. I mean, I just, for some reason my body interacts with pork differently. It causes gout for whatever reason. It aggravates my gout. But the short ribs I do keto Korean style are we both agree that we like those ribs better. So I think from here on out, even though I got a freezer full of St. Louis ribs and baby back ribs in the freezer still, but once those are gone, on to short ribs forever. So what's the rest of your year looking like, Dr. Steve? How's that shipping up? You got 5 books in the work. You're selling your house. You're going to be moved out by September. Are you going to be okay for Thanksgiving and Christmas? What are
We could be living in a camper for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I don't know. I don't know where we'll be living. We don't want to rent and throw money down a rat hole. So at least if we buy a nice camper, we can turn around and sell it in a year. And even if at a loss, it'll be less of a loss than what rent costs around these parts these days.
Yeah, prices are going up everywhere.
Man, I don't know. My wife is getting an ankle replacement in August, which throws another wrench into the works. Like it'll be interesting to talk to you on the next year, 4th of July, to see if I'm still alive.
Wow. So what's the recovery time for that for ankle surgery that she's getting?
I don't know. It's probably complete immobilization for several weeks, but physical therapy in 6 to 8 weeks, maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, that's what I was asking that because I mean, someone's going to have to be there. She's probably not going to be able to walk for 2 or 3 weeks, and she's going to have to do the bell thing. So you or or your
Brian,
son,
right? Brian can come downstairs and help. Sure.
Or hey, by then maybe you'll have the Rhino Bucket. Maybe Rhino Bucket can serve her
get the
with
Levo down there. Yes, absolutely.
Well, we're going to we look forward to having you back on to hear the update. We'll have to have you back on before July. Let's have you back on in end of September to find out, so everybody knows where you're living and make sure you're okay, just in case we have to put out a call for help and anybody got a basement that can take you guys in.
I will have written a rambling manifesto by then, and my hair will be all askew and crazy, and I'll have one of those insane looks on my face.
Well, it's been great to have you back reconnected. What are you going to say, Brian?
Oh, and an axe in your hand.
Yes, and I'll wield it like Brian wields a carving knife. Yes.
So, Brian, if anyone's joining us tonight, what bit of advice would you give somebody?
I would give the advice that is on your shirt. Eat your meat.
Absolutely. So we will see you guys next Friday. Stay safe, stay well, and stay out of the hospital. And Dr. Steve-O, glad to have you back, brother.
Yeah, congratulations on your almost hitting your goal.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt.
It's just another day. Time is just a tick away. Don't you go and throw it away.
Doing well, thank you.
It's like you just got out of the shower.
No, well, maybe. All this pretty doesn't just happen by itself, Jim. Come on.
So you got a stylist?
I've
You
got
pay
a
somebody. You pay
team.
somebody to look like that?
Yeah,
Okay,
Botox
that's all right.
injections. I've got hair plugs that fell out. It's a whole thing.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, hey, no, congratulations on your I mean, truly, 0.4 ounces is just 2 tablespoons of ketchup.
0.4 pounds. It's 181 grams.
Still, it's 2 tablespoons of ketchup.
I didn't mean to step on your punchline. Sorry, Jim.
No, you're good. You're good. Good to have you. Let me go ahead and record button because I know you got to get out of here at 10, and I know Brian's got a tight schedule today too. So let's go ahead and rock and roll.